That was really stressful. That was a very stressful experience because there were so many people. Hello again, happy drawing. Hello, everybody else. I'm better at pronouncing Hangul if it's typed in Hangul. When it's the English, I don't know. Kim, hello. Hello, Elena. How are you guys? Please let me know where you guys are listening from in the comments. Hello again. If you want to tell me what your real name is, Doflamingo, I just remember. I love calling you Doflamingo, but if you want to tell me what your real name is, that's also great too, or an initial or something. But how are you guys doing today? I was just around a lot of people and it was a little stressful because of these new regulations. Everybody is flocking to go get their verifications. Hello, Iris, Leslie. You can finally join a live. Woo! Hello, New York City. Hello. Hi, guys. When you have time to give your insight. KEB, does it have the best exchange rate? I will answer that in 1 second. I promised. Aloha again. Hello. Hi, Cindy. How are you guys doing? So I was just if you just joined, I was just at the Health Clinic Center. Hello from LA. I was trying to, hello, Crystal, figure out if all these rumors are true. And then there were so many people. I was really stressed out, but I literally finished at the health center clinic at 11:20. Thankfully, I lived really close, so I just took a taxi home super fast. Hi again, Cindy from North Carolina or California. English, I'm still trying to sit down because I just ran through the door. Ooh, hello. Wow, so many wonderful people. Okay, quickly I'll answer this question because you came in prepared. Do you find this to be true that I'm assuming you mean the KEB bank / ATM is like the best exchange rate? If you are talking about exchanging currency, or if you just mean there's a fee when you pull money at an ATM, and it's not a Korean bank, there's going to be a fee. So if you're asking about that, or if you're asking about you're bringing your home currency and you want to exchange it, if you're going to do that, I don't bring home currency for the specific reason that I feel like you lose a lot of money. I would rather just use a foreign exchange bank card, pull from an ATM, and it refunds me. I have one with Charles Schwab, and I have one with Capital One, and it will refund me any foreign transaction fee. So that way I'm not losing as much money. So pulling from ATMs, it wouldn't matter which ATM if you have a foreign exchange. If you have a card that doesn't have any foreign exchange rates, what is the word? I should probably have gathered myself for a few seconds before I just turned the live on. No foreign transaction fees. That's what it's called. So I would recommend that you get one that doesn't have foreign transaction fees if you don't have that. I've definitely seen that the bank with the least amount of fee, it's always going to be within a bank. The ATMs within the bank on the outside, not at the CVS or the convenience stores. Those will have a higher charge. But for me, it doesn't matter because all of the transaction fees come back to me. But if you go to the bank itself, KB is definitely the cheapest. It's yellow. That's the one I've been able to pull the most money at, and it has the cheapest exchange rate from what I can see. But I know a lot of you guys are wondering about this new rule. So if I did not make that question clear, let's get into these new policies, because finally, praise the Lord, we got some good news, guys. They're finally recognizing foreign vaccines, and I can know that it is a for sure thing because I just went to the clinic, but it's still really complicated. Give me 1 second. If I don't drink water enough during this, y'all need to give me a little reminder because I forget to drink water and then my throat is so dry at the end of this. And you're totally fine, Elena. Ask all the questions. That's what the Q&A is for. I love to answer questions. I just want to answer the main question first. The new policies and regulations, I did just post a very short update video last night here for us in Korea. I don't know where you guys are, but about 12 hours ago. and it explained, hello, hello to the new people. It explained how things are changing for the better for people who are here in Korea hoping to be verified, even though they were vaccinated abroad. So even though I personally have not, I didn't check it this morning because I ran straight to the clinic, but I have not seen anything on like the government website posting things that this is like official, but it did work for me, except I won't know for sure for 2 to 3 days. So as of right now, if you have an ARC or you have a QR code, so it's verified and it's registered to your name, and you only have that happen if you got really lucky before they like regulated it, that it was only for ARC holders. Some people were able to sneak in there and still get verified and get like the QR code. But either way, as of right now, if you have an ARC card, you can go as of today. You can show up, bring your some sort of identification and the phone number that is attached to that QR code that you already have, and you can submit that information with your piece of paper or your vaccine card, something that shows that you were vaccinated. I only had my vaccine card and my passport. That is what I showed them, and they wrote all the information down. They took my phone number. They took the place that I'm currently staying, which is an Airbnb. So I just gave them my Airbnb address. And they copied, they will come in when you come in. They will copy your passport or the information that you have, whether it's a card of some kind, and they will copy whatever document that shows that you were vaccinated. They just quickly look at it. They put your name kind of like on this list. And I'm assuming later today, they will like start inputting it all into the system, which is why they said 2 to 3 days is how long it's going to take. But again, I can't know for sure if it worked or not, but that allows someone the opportunity to have the COOV app and get the QR code in the COOV app. Now, some of you are probably wondering about the tourism, like in the tourist visa. What I heard is that on Wednesday, so not right now, but starting Wednesday, you too can go, but they will give you like a piece of paper, I believe, that you won't be able to get the app. You will have like a piece of paper that has a QR code on it, and you're able to use that as like your entrance code rather than getting the app itself, because the app is only going to be able to be downloaded and linked to you if you have an ARC card and you get registered into the system, and they don't do that if you're just on like a tourism visa. But again, if you are a tourist, I don't believe you can go right now. They were turning away people that are currently on tourist visas and don't have any QR codes of any kind. But so that's good news, right? Woo! Where's the little, clap emoji, right? Like they're actually recognizing people who are vaccinated abroad. So that is really, really good. And as far as quarantine goes, it is still mandatory. They're not changing that as of yet. They still want it to be mandatory because of this new variant, and people who are vaccinated are still getting it and bringing it into the country. I will say that you have to, and I'm going to copy and paste this in the chat, you have to have one of these vaccines if you are hoping to go get verified. You have to be vaccinated with one of these vaccines. So quarantine is still mandatory. In order for you to skip quarantine in the future, that is still kind of up in the air. From what I've seen in these documents and the wonderful friends and people that are in my life that are helping me understand the Korean side of the documents as well, it's saying for those of the people who are like residing in Korea, it's looking like if you get a booster shot here in Korea, then you would be able to come or get vaccinated in Korea. You have to get something in your arm here in Korea if you want to leave and come back without having to quarantine. And I'm sure that eventually maybe the exemption papers will come back into play, but all of it is kind of still up in the air, but it is good news. I love seeing all the little clappy emojis. If you guys have any questions, if you need me to make it more clear, please ask, because I kind of just word vomited just now, and I also just ran in here. So Hello to all of those of you who joined late. Let me know where you're coming from. Please ask me any questions if you are just joining now. I don't know if you're allowed to go back in a live stream and watch from the beginning, but I would do that because I just explained a little bit as to what the new regulations are, which are good and exciting. So yes, if you have an ARC card right now, you can go to a local health public district near you, and you will have to wait in line. There were a lot of people. Oh, I was stressed. There's a lot of people going right now because today's the first day that all of this is taking place. But you can go in, show them your like identification card, show them like your QR code that you're using, that you have been using to scan to get into like restaurants and stuff. Go in, they will give you a little number. Go in, sit down. Once your number is called, they will go and they will ask for your information. And you can go to any public health district because they say that any of them are allowed. If you do go to the one in Mapogo, I forget how to say it. I will post the address on here in 1 second. If you go to that one, they speak English. So that was definitely really, like helpful that the whole thing was done in English. And I've heard that some people like you would want to bring like a Korean friend if you go to one that does not speak English. This is the Mapo Public Health Center. I'm pasting the address in here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I will also put the link in the description. But that is the place, at least, that they speak English. If you're hoping to go somewhere that speaks English, let me catch up on some of these questions. Sorry about that. From Mexico, but I have a vaccine in the United States, so I don't know if I can do registration too. As long as you have a vaccine, you just have to like bring the certification, bring it with you, bring some sort of like form of your identity, passport, ARC card, some sort of like, yeah, just verify who you are. Official, thing. I brought my passport. Passport's great. I think that you would be allowed. Doesn't matter where you're vaccinated, as long as you're vaccinated and the name matches on your passport and your vaccine card. I want to get a Capital One card before I go too. I just got my Capital One card for this trip. Highly recommend it. I've already gotten so many points. It's great. So much free money. Sure. Can anyone get a Charles Schwab account from any country? I believe so. I believe so. I don't know. I don't actually know for sure. I love my Charles Schwab card. I've had it for a really long time, but it is a debit card, and I really recommend that you bring a debit card because that allows you to pull from ATMs a lot easier than the credit card does. I've had a lot of difficulties trying to pull from a credit card, but debit cards usually work out just fine at most ATMs. It depends on what area I'm in. Like the past few days, I have not been able to find a bank that an ATM that just likes my card, but sometimes that happens. You just got to stroll around the streets and keep trying different ATMs. But again, for me, I have more options because my card doesn't have any foreign transaction fees. So every time it's like, are you okay to pay a fee? I'm like, sure, because I'll get that money back. So I don't care how much it costs. Can you still shop at supermarkets? I believe that everybody can shop anywhere and do anything by themselves. If you are going with someone, that's when it gets a little bit complicated, and that's when they're expecting for you to have these QR codes and stuff. They want to make sure that at least only one person in a group of 6 people or less in the metropolitan area. Outside of the metropolitan area, 8 people or less. They want to make sure that only one person in that entire group is unvaccinated. So if you go in, me, myself, and I, you would be that one unvaccinated person. So you can do anything. Anything. Anybody? Okay. Anyways, I love musicals. So usually in my head, there's like a song that matches with everything. Great news. I started my quarantine yesterday, so good to know. It should be fine. Yes. So you are in luck because right now there are so many people flocking to these districts because it's starting now. So like everybody's going today, the next few days. So by the time you're out, it'll probably be like the hype will probably have calmed down a little bit. And I really recommend you go on a weekday if possible, like when other people are working. Weekends, I don't even want to think about how many people are going to be there this weekend. Gives me anxiety just thinking about it. Um, what can you do in Korea without being vaccinated? You can still do everything by yourself. It's just that if you want to do it with people, that's when it gets more complicated. But you can still do everything. I just want to reassure people you can still do everything, even if you are unvaccinated. I would definitely say you're going to be limited as far as if you want to go like hang out with people. You would only be able to hang out with people who are vaccinated and registered as vaccinated. But now that everybody is allowing to like get vaccinated, if they are vaccinated, even like abroad, you would have more luck now because a lot of people are vaccinated. So, yes. And you are able to rewind. Thank you for letting me know that. Atlanta, Marlena, my girl Marlena on here. Hey, girl. Are you on a tourist visa? Will you get a QR code on the paper? If you are, so I had a QR code, so that's why I was able to go today. But whether or not you have a tourist visa, whatever visa you have, you can still go starting Wednesday. All all visa types on Wednesday can go. As of right now, it's only people with QR codes. So today through Wednesday, anybody that has an ARC card can go. So that would mean long-term visa. Starting on Wednesday, all people can go. And it sounds like if you are on a tourist visa, you will get that piece of paper. You won't get the app. But if you are here long term or you have a long like term visa, you would be able to get the COOV app and then get your verification on there. How many days have you been quarantined right now? I'm still 14 days as of, oh, so yeah, it is 10 days. And I saw Marlena answered. It is 10 days, period. Quarantine is 10 days. We love to see it. That's like $400 less if you're going to government facility quarantine. It's like a lot of money that knowing that it's now $10 or 10 days instead of 14 days, thinking of all the dollars that I have spent on those extra 4 days because I've quarantined twice now. So that's like $800 that you guys don't have to spend if you were to quarantine twice. Whew, wouldn't recommend it though. 안녕하세요. How's the weather? Not too bad. Thank you for asking, Karen. Be there in September 2022. Love it. Yeah, the weather right now, I thought it would be a lot worse. It's not too bad. I would say it's pretty like I have like a, well, it's hanging here in the back because I like use this to block light because it gets really bright through this curtain. But I would say my jacket isn't that thick. Like I don't necessarily think that you need like the padding coats just yet. I think it's still really nice. And the padding is a little much for me, but people who maybe aren't used to the cold as much as I am, because I am from originally like northeast, like the Connecticut, northern of Ohio, like I dealt with a lot of snow. So to me, I'm doing just great. I'm not really that cold. My hands might get cold, but my hands are always cold. So, but overall, it's not too bad. Boston currently, but holy crap. Wow, that's so many places. But aloha. Annyeong. Lunch has been delivered. Quarantine life. Yes. You really just live meal to meal. It's like next meal, next meal. Just waiting. When will the next meal be? And honestly, in quarantine, you're like, am I even hungry? I don't even know if I'm hungry. Am I hungry? I'll eat anyway. Got booster shot today. Arm is a little sore. Oh, wow. Where I'm assuming, Karen, I think you are. Yeah, you said you're coming September 22. So you got it in the States then? Where did you go to get your booster, if you don't mind me asking? I heard from several sites that it should be possible to enter restaurants, facilities, and the foreign vaccines and ID. Do you have any experience with that? If you rewind in this live, I just explained how everybody can go and get their vaccines, even if they were abroad, verified. I explained that a bit, but yes, you can. Everybody, as of right now, ARC card, you can go right now. On Wednesday, starting on Wednesday, then everybody can go, tourist visas included. Great content. Thank you so much. I try really hard, you guys. I really do. Getting an interesting amount of sleep. I got to say, an interesting amount of sleep trying to keep up with this Vlogmas. But it's worth it. I really love getting all this content out for you guys. I'm moving there in February for university. I'm nervous. Ashley, you got this. Honestly, you're coming to a wonderful country. Yes, things have been super crazy the past few weeks, by the time you're here, I feel like things will be a little bit more established as to like how things work, what to do. But Korea is such a wonderful country to experience and explore. It has its pros and cons, right? It has its ups and downs like every country does, but I definitely think it's quite safe, and there's so much to do, like, every day. Like, you don't have to even have friends to explore because there's just so much you could do on your own, just sightseeing or going to different cafes. So I think I understand why you're nervous because I don't know, Ashley, have you been overseas before? Um, it can be intimidating, when this is your first trip overseas or your first trip overseas by yourself. That's why I was definitely so intimidated to come back the second time. This is the first time I was going like by myself completely. And I definitely had some nerves, but hopefully my videos can be helpful to help calm you down, to get you more prepared, like how to take a taxi, how to get on the bus, all that good jazz. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited. What school are you going to be going to, Ashley, if you don't mind me asking? I am from Pittsburgh, but live in Orlando now. Oh, my family is from Pittsburgh. A lot of my family is from Pittsburgh, actually. My dad's side, a lot. So I go to Pittsburgh all the time, and I'm a Steelers fan. I'm sorry. I'm a Steelers fan. I'm not sorry. I'm a Steelers fan. My family's from Pittsburgh, so of course I'm going to be a Steelers fan. Hello, Daniel. Quarantine life should be a shirt design. Yes. This one time in quarantine, all that stuff. Walmart pharmacy, but I am good. Good, 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 good. When are you leaving Korea? Wonderful question. Very complicated answer. It's more like, how can I stay in Korea? That is the better question that I would like to know. How can I stay in Korea well and continue to make YouTube videos? Because that is really hard to do. They're trying to like crack down on making sure that you don't have jobs outside of your visa type that aren't allowed. So, yeah, very hard. I got my booster shot at Walgreens in Florida, planning on living in Korea next year on a DOD contract. I don't know what DOD is. Can you tell me what the number or like what the name of it is? But getting that booster, nice. Oh my gosh, finally caught you on live. Thank you for all that you do. You've helped my friend and I so much ever since I found your channel. Denny, I'm so glad. So nice to meet you. I love to make videos. I love to help people out. I'm on Instagram a lot if you ever have any more questions, but I'm so glad I've been able to help you guys out. I know my channel basically is just every video I make is a video that I wish I had before I came to Korea, or like a video I wish that I had when I was here in Korea. Like, how the heck do I do anything? So I'm really glad that you found my channel, and I'm glad to help you guys out. More Orlando people. Wonderful. I'm attending Korea University as an undergraduate. Exciting, Ashley. Very, very exciting. Undergraduate degree, are you getting something like, are you not going for Korean studies, or you're just going to study something else? Do you know Korean? Tell me more. Go Steelers. Amen. Amen. Department of Defense. Oh, whoa. Oh, cool, cool. That's so exciting. Safe travels. I hope you love it here. In Korea, what's the most popular jobs for expats who live in Korea besides English teacher? The answer is English teacher. But besides English teacher, there's no like most popular job, because it's very difficult to have jobs that are not like teaching degrees are the only like visas that are really less stressful. All visas here, all visa types are very stressful. But like entertainment visas, which is something I have been looking into for a really long time, but the more I look into it, the more I realize it is not an easy visa to have. They have changed the regulations within the past year a lot, that you have to make a certain amount of money in Korea with Korean won in order for them to like renew your entertainment visa. So you could probably come here. And again, even getting an entertainment visa, like people try to like Google online entertainment visas. There's so many scams online. So you have to be really, really careful that you're not signing up for a scam. You should not be paying anything in advance. The company is supposed to sponsor your visa. So you shouldn't be having to pay a whole bunch of money up front. And you're not even in Korea, like you're overseas trying to figure it out. So be super, super careful if you're trying to get an entertainment visa, and please make sure you join Facebook group chats like expats in Korea or entertainers in Korea. If you're trying to go down like the entertainment route, it can be, yeah, it can definitely be a little bit sketchy. But yeah, if you don't make that certain quota of like what they expect for you to be making in South Korea, then it gets, they basically might not renew your contract. Um, yeah, so it's a bit harsh. So yeah, like jobs outside of being an English teacher, like they used to have a working holiday visa, which allowed you to come and kind of take like oddball jobs. But like a lot of my friends are usually on that. Like a lot of my friends who had gotten that visa in the past, it's currently suspended. So you're not allowed to get it right now. Uh, a lot of those people say that they live very tight, like money wise, because these oddball jobs are not like well paid. So, you know, financially, that one can be a little bit rough as well. I would probably recommend if you ever did in the future get a working holiday visa, that you somehow find a way to like work online through your home country as well. Uh, then there is a student visa, which is probably the most other popular visa because as a student here, you can have that visa. It's, you know, set in stone as long as you don't quit the school. It's set in stone for as long as you like pay for classes for, but you would have to have at least 2 semesters of a student visa in order, like you have to pay for at least 2 semesters and have usually around $10,000 in a bank account to show proof that you do have money. So yeah, as far as jobs go, there's really no other like most popular job. You can get oddball jobs here and there, but it's definitely teaching. Um, I missed out on a lot of these questions. Sorry about that. Majoring in linguistics. Ooh, exciting. So the first year I'll be taking a Korean language course to prepare for the rest of my classes. Very exciting. I'm excited for you, Ashley. What's the most language demanded besides English? Do you mean like what's the most, what do you mean about that exactly with the most, what's the most language? Like, what is the other language that people speak here the most? I'm not totally sure what that question is. Steelers is the first football team that had a half Korean, half American player. Heinz Ward. I love Heinz Ward. He's awesome. I love his name as well. um, literally the man. Yes. Thanks for answering all of my questions on Instagram. And hello from Sunny. How do you say that? I'm not going to say it wrong on camera. Can you, like, spell it out a little bit so that I don't, I think I know how to say it, but live, I can't, like, delete, you know, if I say something wrong, I can't go back and delete it. But I'm so happy to help you, girl, or guy, person, individual. I lost the comment. There it is. I'm very glad to help you on Instagram, and feel free, you guys, my name is the same as my name on here. If you have any questions, please head over to Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Looking forward to the entertainment visa video, if it's still in the works, but sounds really complex. I am hesitant to make the entertainment video. I have like a list of 50 videos that I plan to make right now. I do want to make a video about visas. I just don't know enough about them, and I don't have a personal experience on it. I just have a lot of warnings that other people have given me. I was going to go down that route, but then I decided to maybe be hesitant unless it's very specific visa or a very specific company. Um, or, you know, maybe if you're like a bigger name where, you know, you could make more money. I do acting, so that's kind of why I feel like I would have a better, easier job at making a decent amount of money when I do acting on the side. But yeah, it is very complex. Yeah, it's really, really complex. Watching you on a break for a second. Hello, Alexandra. Hello. Nice to see you for the temporary break. Let me know if you have any questions at all. Never been to Korea and not familiar with the culture. In general, are they open to conversations, meeting foreigners, and small talk, or do they keep to themselves? Great question, Elena. So Korean culture in public, so like in America, I can walk into a Walmart. This is true story. Walked into Walmart. I had torn my meniscus, which is like a part, like a tendon or something in my like knee area. Tore my meniscus, had crutches, had, you know, a nice little brace thing on my knee. And I went into Walmart in Kentucky, and I swear I told 8 people either my life story or 8 people told me their life story about how they had had crutches at one point, and they too or their cousin had crutches, or they, I made friends with, like, these random strangers. It was the first day I had lived in Kentucky, and I'm just like, "Wow, Kentucky's great." So, in America, there's a lot of weird random conversations. You could ask the person in the grocery store like, "Oh, you like that brand?" Like, you that looks like a good brand of burgers you have in your cart. Why do you like that? Like, you could do that. Not everybody does that. We're not all just like these friendly social butterflies. Sometimes, people do not want to talk or they keep to themselves. But it is a possibility. In Korea, if you were to go up to a stranger and try to like start a conversation just to like chat, like, you just don't. You don't do that. If you had a question, like you were trying to find somewhere, people might be intimidated, but they would still be happy to try to answer. It's just more of the language barrier problem. There's not people going up to strangers and having this like small talk kind of thing. So that is one thing I really miss about the States is I just miss meeting people more easily. But I will say, I go to church every Sunday, and that is a wonderful community where strangers do go up and talk to each other because in the service I go to, there's specifically a point. It's an English speaking, it's not a foreigners church, but mostly foreigners attend this church. And it's like, turn to your neighbor and introduce yourself. And so you're talking to strangers whether or not you wanted to. And that's the way I've made my best friends. That's the way I've met the most amazing people here in Korea that I literally cannot thank God enough for putting these people in my life. So it's like there are ways to still build community when you're here. It's just not going to be like the friendly meeting the stranger in public. So they're not against meeting foreigners. It's usually Korean people are just too scared to like initiate a conversation. And a lot of people will try to like go to bars and meet people that way. That's a whole, if you guys ever want me to talk about like what dating culture here is, there is a lot of things to be very, 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 very cautious of and what people will say to get you certain places. So yeah, if foreigners are coming up and talking to me on the street, they're asking for my number or I'm sorry, if Korean people come up to me on the street and are asking me like a question, it's usually like, can I get your phone number? Are you single? That's happened a few times. It's not going to be like, I want to come and like be your friend kind of thing, if that makes sense. You have to be a little bit cautious, yeah, with who's coming and talking to you on the street. Yeah, anyways, it's weird in any country for someone to just run up to you on the street and try to initiate a conversation. But yeah, there's less small talk. I've made some of the best connections while traveling, but I'm worried that I'll come off like a weirdo. I'm just friendly and excited. So, sorry I didn't read the second part of your question. You still can meet people. Like I said, foreigners, you could probably go up to a little bit easier. But again, you don't know where that foreigner's from. They could be from anywhere. They might not speak English that well. English might be like their second or third language. But yeah, you keep in public, you keep more to yourselves, but there are still ways to meet a lot of people. Language exchange, like meetups, like at cafes, they'll have like these language exchange programs. Church for me is like my favorite part. There's like meetup groups. You can join like Facebook groups as well. There's a lot of people in those groups. I've used Bumble BFF to meet a lot of people, to make friends that way. People keep to themselves, especially in Seoul. True. If you want to teach language in Korea, other than English, I've known some people to teach Spanish. A lot of the teaching any other languages but English would be a tutoring thing, and it's very difficult to be a tutor per se here, unless you were like a student and you worked part-time. I know some people were teaching Spanish on the side. Spanish is probably the most popular, if I had to guess. I'm not totally sure about that one. Shout out to you for being so supportive and kind when I was traveling to Korea a few months back. I wanted to say I'm returning soon long term, and I've gotten an email from the US Embassy saying foreigners can now verify their overseas vaccinations for COOV and QR purposes. Sorry if you've answered all this already. By the way, my name sounds like Shirley, maybe? Shirley, I love it. Yeah, if you guys could type what your name is actually pronounced like, I prefer that. I love to say your name correctly. But yeah, Shirley, I'm so glad that I've been able to help you along the way, and I'm glad that you're able to come back long term. Woohoo! Yes, I did answer this. You are allowed now to go to your local health districts. Um, district health center to get verification when you get here, especially because you'll be on long term. You'll be able to get the COOV app. You're just going to have to go to the local. I went to the one I put in a address earlier in the comments. I believe I can repaste it, but this is where I went, and they speak English pretty well. And you can go there and get verified. That is the new update. I just went today, but they said it'll take 2 to 3 days for it to get processed into the system. But you can go back and listen to the whole story if you would like as well. Um, there's not a language in demand. Yeah, I wouldn't say that English is I would say English is like the one that is in demand the most, but I do know people that have tutored other languages as well, including Spanish, for sure. Can I get my foreign vaccine verified on a tourist visa? Starting on Wednesday, they are allowing tourist visas to be verified. They said that you're going to get like a piece of paper, but again, it's not Wednesday, so I can't tell you for sure if that's happening because I don't have any yeses or nos from my friends yet. So I will let you know. You caught me. I'm that chatty, Kathy person sometimes. It's okay. I am as well. That's one of the reasons why I enjoy being in America is that that is like a capability. And that's one thing that is always really hard for me when I go abroad. But then when I go back to America, I'm talking to everybody. I am everybody's friend. I don't know if people like it or they hate it, but I really will talk to everybody. Yeah, even in the convenience stores, they don't like to try and talk. LO, I miss the yeah, so it's like I think people are really intimidated by foreigners, understandably so. I'm equally intimidated to talk to someone that is Korean because I'm like, how much Korean do you know? Like, how can I like butcher through my poor Korean skills and try to like have a conversation. And it's so funny, like colors, right? Everybody usually learns colors, and I'm over here not learning colors because in my head I'm like, oh, I don't need to learn colors because I got all these other things I want to learn. I want to have actual real conversations. And then uh I went into a convenience store and it was like a 2+1 and I had bought like 2 blue yogurts and 1 red yogurt. And he was like, "Oh, 2+1." And I was like, "Oh, 2+1." He said. So I ran over and I was like, musen, which means like which one is 2+1? And he said a color and I was like, "Frick, I should have learned my colors." And so I had a 50-50 shot and I just grabbed one of them and he was like, "Oh, año, año." And I was like, I don't know my colors. And now I don't know my colors. I was so embarrassed. So uh I think a lot of yeah, there's just a lot of nerves on both the foreigner side and the Korean side. People are just intimidated. They don't know how much Korean you know. Now they feel like they're in this moment where they need to, learn English and they're trying to like remember all the English that they learned in school. So it is sad, but the more Korean you know, the better your experience will be in Korea. Hands down, the more confident you will feel to go anywhere. I always thought, oh, I can just wait till I get to Korea to learn Korean. It'll be easier because I'm in the country. Start as soon as possible because the more you know now, and I love to this day, I love it's called Tuida. Let me see if I can pull up a link to it because I've linked it in the bottom of some of my videos. I cannot thank this app enough that they are in existence because with Tuida, and I do believe I have like a promo code or something connected to my name because I reached out to them and asked them like, hey, can I like partner with you guys because I want people to like use you. So here is this, and thank you to Marlena. Marlena is actually the person that told me. I know she's in this chat somewhere. This is it, and if you use my referral code MEGAN-O, you get like a discount. This app taught me how to like buy coffee in a coffee shop. Like I know like they'll ask like, do you want your coffee hot or cold? And some people will say hot because they think that's Korean because cold you can say ice. So it's like people think ice hot and it's 따뜻한 주세요. So it's like I didn't know that until I used that app. So that app I cannot recommend enough. It is like real life scenario where you are looking into like they'll have like a person and it looks like they're talking to you and the microphone they'll literally ask you a question and the microphone will start and you have to reply like you're having a real live conversation with someone, and it will rate you, it'll give you a grade. I cannot recommend that app enough to practice in advance, for you coming here. How to use a taxi, like, how to say left, right, go straight. There's a whole, like, section on taxis, and they've just, like, revamped their app, and it looks so much more aesthetic, and super up to date. So I really recommend and use that promo code to get some discounts as well. Cannot recommend them enough. And the more Korean you know, like I said, more Korean you know, the better your experience will be. 라면 먹을래. Dating culture, yeah, be careful, guys. Netflix and chill. This phrase that Marlena said, like, "Would you like to go eat ramen?" is like the Netflix and chilly type phrase of Korea. You gotta be careful if someone asks that. What are some social norms that are different? Like holding the door open. Yeah, same. Bless you after sneezing. They don't hold the door open. Isn't that crazy? It's like I literally twice now I can think of these moments where if I didn't hold my hand out to like stop the door, in Korea, a lot of doors open both in and out. They don't just open one way, they do both. So it's like if I didn't have my hand out, it would have like swung back and hit me in the face. So it's like every time I'm just like, he really didn't hold the door. But then I'm like, they don't do that here. And if I ever hold the door to someone, because it's just ingrained into me, literally just 2 days ago, the guy looked at me, thank you. Like in English, thank you that I held the door open. And I'm like, idiot, I shouldn't have done that. But at the same time, like it's in me, right, to want to do that. So it's just funny. But what are some other social norms that are different? Hmm. Just overall, it's a lot, you're just quieter. I would say like on the subway, like public transportation, in day-to-day life, like unless you're going out to a restaurant, that's when things get pretty like loud and bustly. As a foreigner, you're looked at as very loud. I don't know, I think it's because Americans are very loud. Like we have so much space in America. Usually like everything is just spread out. Our streets are wider. Like everything is just big, right? We have so much land. We can just spread out. Everything in Korea goes up, right? And tight. Apartments are usually smaller. You know, houses are usually smaller. The street lanes themselves are really small in comparison to overseas. So, I mean, in comparison to America. So it's like we are just louder people because we got more space. At least that's my assumption that I've kind of put together. So we are just loud. So like on a public transportation, if I have a normal conversation with my American friend and I'm not conscious in my head thinking like I'm in Korea, if I were just in America, if I talk at that level, like I am talking right now, people are going to be like, like, these foreigners are so loud because they're so quiet. So it's just like overall, there's definitely like a sense of quieter, except for the elder generations here in Korea, usually pretty loud, especially at restaurants, sometimes on the bus and stuff. It's just kind of weird. It's like a weird like rule that like as a foreigner, if you're loud, you're like it's frowned upon and people look at you funny. But if you are like an older Korean man, it's okay for him to take the phone call on the bus. But like if I take the phone call and talk super loud on the bus, they're looking at me up and down. Like, how could you be on the phone right now? Because the public transportation is just so quiet. I already actually filmed a video, but I think I might refilm it. But I did film a video on things that I really don't, not that I hate about Korea, but things that are so different that I don't really like. Or maybe like, yeah, things that I don't love about Korea and a video about things I really do love about Korea. And maybe this is not a social norm, but something I hate about Korea that I just got to say it now is their passwords at these dang cafes. Why do I have to type in code in order to log on to this cafe Wi-Fi? It's like 000015600000000. I'm like, I can't like I have like that numbers dyslexia where it's really hard for me to read numbers. So I'm like trying to count these zeros on this tiny screen. because I took a picture of it with my phone because I have to like zoom in to count all the zeros out. And I'm typing in this code to like log on to these public Wi-Fi's. I'm like, can we at least do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Like, why do we have to do 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, A4? Anyways, very, that was my little rant session. Got any phrases or situations you find that you have found you really need to know Korean and where it's super helpful? Definitely ordering. It's just so much easier ordering at restaurants, ordering at cafes, uh, just knowing Korean in those circumstances, because especially if you're not in Seoul or you're not in areas that are more like heavily populated in English, it just kind of gets difficult, um, when it can be you just learn a few phrases and it can go, like, so fast if you just knew a few phrases. Like, the word for receipt, like, you're gonna hear that at the end of every single like, "Would you like a receipt?" I don't wanna say it in Korean because my Korean is so bad, I'm too scared to say it on a live stream. But I know there's someone Korean watching this, if you can type in, like, the phrase, like, "Would you like a receipt?" They will say that at the end of every phrase. So just knowing Korean, especially in that, Tuida app that I mentioned, especially just learning Korean when it comes to, like, ordering, that has been what's given me the most confidence when I go out and about. Um, Other situations where I wish I knew Korean every day, taxi drivers. I mean, it's as long as you can learn, like, "Here is okay," like, uh, "Yogi 괜찮아요," like, you can stop the car here, basically. But when the taxi driver's off and I'm trying to tell them, like, "Keep going straight," and all of that, that's another situation I guess I'm happy I knew Korean. Um, Overall, I just wish I knew it more often in general, but those are the 2 situations that come to mind that I interact with, I guess, on, like, a daily basis. Can I get the app on the short-term visa? No, you cannot get the app. Only short like, the tourist visas, you'll only be able to get this piece of paper, but the piece of paper is, like, the same thing as an app. Uh, so it'll be able to do the same thing, but you cannot get the app. Happy to help you. I'm afraid of mixing up formal and informal language. Yes. Just add a yo. At the end of the day, add yo at the end. And if for some reason, someone feels like you're speaking too formally to them, they will tell you. So at the end of the day, speak formally. I think it's important for people to learn formal speech of like Korean first so that you're not making a fool of yourself or being like rude to someone and speaking informally. So it's always better to speak formally first. Let me take a sip of water because I forgot. Oh my gosh, numbers and money and counting. Don't get me started. The different endings and how they, even though Korean like has like they're still going to write the number the same way that anybody else would with the commas. They have different groupings. They group them in fours rather than in threes. Who came up with that? Who came up with that? My brain is like, "Da, da, da. So this is this, and but it's four, so man, chon." Oh. So the numbers are so difficult. So I feel that in my soul. I feel that in my soul. If you're afraid of mixing up the informal and formal, stick with the formal. Yeah, Marlena's got it. People will let you know when they can speak. Look at Marlena and I. We on the same page, Marlena. They want to help each other's arm strength. I forget what that's about. I'm so sorry. I get really excited and I keep talking and then I try to catch up with the chat. Sorry about that. I started to feel so uncomfortable if other foreigners were being loud in the subway. Yes, you look over and you're like, don't they know that they're supposed to be quiet on this thing? But they don't know yet because they're probably on a short-term visa and they haven't done enough research to know, right? So you can just be one with the Koreans and give them the good stare. I also notice people don't normally people watch. I look around and like to make eye contact and smile at people, so that was strange. Yeah, people don't people watch, they look at their phone, and that is a really good point. They're on their phone all the time, everybody, watching their phone, watching something, reading a cartoon, everybody is looking down. If people are looking up, they're staring at you, if you're a foreigner, and then I look back at them and stare at them, and then there's this, like, awkward moment of, like, either they look away or then they don't look away, and then we're just looking at each other, and it's like, "Well, now this is weird. You were supposed to look away, but you didn't." Marlena, I'm screwed. My voice travels. Yeah, you gotta learn how to whisper. Or just don't talk on the subway. I have been told I always have to use my inside voice. Yeah. Inside voice is really important. You just don't need people looking at you funny. You don't need to draw any more attention to yourself than you already do, right? Your exterior already draws all the attention. We got to help each other out as foreigners because, especially with like older generations, I would say there's a lot of not for everybody. So I can't say this for all people, but as far as accepting foreigners go, it's kind of just like the bad foreigners stick out, if that makes sense. And yeah, we just have to like try to like look out for each other and give foreigners in general like an overall good rep. So just trying to be like respectful and blend in with the norms, but also like be ourselves and bring like the culture that we have to this country, help educate people, but don't give like more, don't add fuel to the fire of like why a lot of people maybe don't love Koreans being in Korea, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, I can come back and explain more. Um, I might also add to focus more than you think on those English borrowed words. LOL, I always default to the English pronunciation and Korean speakers can really understand. I know, right? So I guess I would say maybe English borrowed word is a way you could put it. I guess I never thought of it that way, but like it blows my mind that I can say caramel macchiato. I would love a caramel macchiato, and they won't understand sometimes when I'm saying caramel macchiato. Just say, oh, caramel macchiato. It's like I said the same thing, but it's just the pronunciation of itself will be misunderstood. Yeah, it blows my mind, but in my head, I'm like, it sounds the same. Like it really sounds the same to me, but to them, it like doesn't click, and I'm always so confused. Ah, yogi. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's another phrase that I said earlier. Um, is it all right to break out my Papago app to make it easier to talk to people in Korea? Yes. Oh, for sure, girl. 100% you can use that Papago app. You kidding me? I use it too. I'm trying to make an effort and be respectful, but I don't want them to think that I'm an idiot. Girl, totally fine. Papago, break it out whenever. I've also, had that experience myself where I just use that and it's so much easier. Um, yo, 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 coming in at the end. I love that. Yo, 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 coming at the end. Yep, gotta add that yo. Papa Go, totally use that with anybody. Usually it's elderly people that would stare, and so I start smiling and bowing, and often they didn't know how to react. Yeah, distract them with kindness, I guess. Yep, for sure. The you know, older folks. So on the subway, if you guys have not watched my subway video, and the end of every single cart, there's going to be like 3 seats and 3 seats on the end of each cart. And those are saved for elderly people only. Period. I don't sit there ever. I would not recommend that you ever sit there. I'd rather you stand than sit there. Even if every single like person seats were open, I still wouldn't recommend that you sit there because it is saved for elderly. And if you sit there, they automatically think that you don't know that and that you're just not educated about Korean culture. And then, the spiral of negativity continues. But in those like awkward, not awkward, the little three furs, there's always, usually 3 old people. And as soon as you enter the subway, it's from that general vicinity of the subway cars where the stairs will come, usually, most often. And that's just, yeah, you know that. That's why I started trying to find more seating, not on the ends of the subway carts. And when you look down on the floor, there'll be like handicap signs. I try to not stand near those like handicap signs anymore because if I stand in the middle, there's a less likelihood that I'm getting as many stairs as when I stand towards like the end of the carts. So many stairs. But then again, I get it. Like, if you're not used to really seeing foreigners, I would also stare, right? If I was surprised that there's this, not the first foreigner that they've probably ever seen, but maybe the first foreigner that they've seen if they came from somewhere more rural. So I kind of get it at the same time. And yes, correct. In the subway video, I also talk about what Marlena is saying to never sit in the pink seats. That is reserved for pregnancy seats. That one I would say more often people will sit in and they would get up if someone pregnant does come um, into the subway cart. But overall, yeah, it just as a foreigner, especially, it's good to like show that you are respectful and show that you know those kind of rules and not sit in those seats. And sometimes the seat itself is not pink, but the wall behind the seat is pink. So make sure you look out for that because I definitely have accidentally sat down where I did not realize it was a like pregnancy seat. Thankfully, the subway was like super empty, so it didn't matter all that much. But then when I like got up, I was like, oh, it was on the wall. Sorry, guys. Sorry. I promise I know things. I promise I know about the rule. What area would you recommend someone stay if they speak little Korean and not really interested in the nightlife? Wow, that's really good that you ended that last sentence like that because I also am not interested in the nightlife, and that has been a difficulty is like finding areas that you can get like the best of both worlds. I'm gonna tell you right now, almost all of Korea still has a nightlife quality to it because drinking culture is just so COVID has made it weird. It's gonna be less common than it would be like on the usual probably day to day. But back in the old days, before pre-COVID, I really like areas. Okay, Itaewon, for me, y'all are gonna probably disagree. I hate Itaewon. It's just full of the kind of foreigners that I it's a lot of drinking and a lot of people go to Itaewon because they know foreigners go there, and I wouldn't say that the best people go to Itaewon to meet the foreigners. Like, it's usually, like, there's the stereotype, and this goes into the whole dating culture. There's a stereotype that foreigners are easy. So, like, they are easy to, have one night stands with. And so Itaewon, I feel like just draws a lot of there's good food. So, like, go there during the day. And it's nice that you can go there and, like, go order at a restaurant in English, eat some food from different parts of the world. As far as living there goes and like going there often, just be careful. Obviously, everywhere has great people, everywhere has bad people. I just feel like the people that I have met in Itaewon, as far as Koreans go, were people that were like coming up to me drunk, trying to get my number, and I'm just trying to get to a cafe because your girl is at cafes, or I'm trying to get to a restaurant. Um, so Itaewon is definitely not a place that I would go to unless you are into like extremely partying and you want to go out there and you want to make all different kinds of friends and go out and do things that I don't know much about. Go. I mean, I old Megan understands what it's like to live in those areas. And probably old Megan would have enjoyed it. But personally, yeah, Itaewon I'd probably stay away from. Um, Hongdae is like a younger vibe, a younger scene, but there's still a lot of English that is spoken around Hongdae. And then Hapjeong is one station south and a few stations to the left and a few stations to the right on the brown line from Hapjeong. There's a lot of really cute cafes. It's currently my favorite place to be. And it definitely would be the most English friendly of the places that I can think of as far as Seoul goes. Gangnam would probably be underneath that, but the reason I don't love Gangnam is because it's so expensive. But if you are into like K-pop or like celebrities and like hoping to see someone in person, not that you should be like stalking people to try to find them, but like there will be a lot of dramas that like you'll see filming on the street, so that's kind of cool. And a lot of celebrities do live in Gangnam, so and they're more English friendly because a lot of foreigners live in Gangnam as well. It's just very expensive. So your girl's trying to save money. So I prefer living somewhere near Hongdae, but not in Hongdae. And around Hongdae is going to be nice because it'll be quieter, but you can still walk to places that will have like a decent amount of English spoken. So I hope that answers your question, even though that was a little bit long. Hello there, Maya. Sorry that I'm just now seeing this, but we're just talking about all the things. So you can always go back and rewatch stuff, or ask a question. Da, 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 da. I actually sat in the pregnancy once. It was so embarrassing because I couldn't figure out why everyone was staring, especially because there were tons of other seats. Yeah. Very awkward. Yep, right? Very awkward. You moved as soon as you saw the pink sticker. Yeah, I know. I did the same thing. Do you want anything from back home? Hamburger helper. Would love to meet you. Oh, that's so sweet of you. I'm probably fine, but message me on Instagram. I don't remember if you're the person that says you don't have Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, I'll give you my email. But I would love to chat with you more. Um, is Itaewon still popular for foreigners even during COVID? It is getting more and more popular. I would say, hmm. The foreigners I have seen currently the past few days, because I do have a friend that, is in Itaewon a lot, so I'll meet up with them, and there is good food in Itaewon, so I will go there to eat, and I do see foreigners, but it's usually not a lot, and it's usually not Americans, actually. A lot of the foreigners I've seen in Itaewon these days, I think I'm not totally sure actually where they're from, and I'm not the best at judging based on, like, skin tone and when I can only see this much of their face because they have a mask on and maybe, like, a hat on. But yeah, there's people from all over, but they're not people that are from America, and they're definitely not usually English speakers. They're from all different kinds of countries. I hear, like, I think some people are from India, I think some people are from Pakistan, I think some people are from, um locations in maybe like Africa. I'm not told. I mean, again, just because you have an exterior of one place doesn't mean you're from that place. But I don't hear a lot of like English being spoken actually. And I see a lot of Korean people in Itaewon as well at these restaurants. As far as like going out at night, I have no idea. I don't go out at night in Itaewon. But there are a decent amount of foreigners still here. And it definitely was growing there for a second, but things kind of halted because of all this crazy pandemic stuff. But now that everybody can get this COOV app or everybody can get at least some sort of certificate to show that they're vaccinated, I feel like people are going to start flocking, which is a little scary to think how many people might, because since BTS like took off so much in the past few years, a lot of like people are just aware of Korea now, and a lot of people want to come to Korea like more than ever before. So it's kind of intimidating to think how many people are coming here soon. Hi, I'm getting a lot of info from your video, so thank you for that. You're so welcome, Ryan. Wanted to ask if you know in regards to getting your ARC card, do you need an actual permanent residence or will an Airbnb do? So you're saying you're trying to get your ARC card. Do you have a long-term visa, Ryan? Are you coming here on a long-term visa? Are you here? Can you give me a little bit more about your story? That will help me be able to answer your question better. Karen, great info. Happy to help. How far in advance did you buy your plane ticket? So funny story. I bought my first plane ticket 2 weeks in advance. I bought my second plane ticket. Well, complicated. I didn't have to buy my second plane ticket because I had to buy a new flight home when I was in Korea the first time, and it was last minute. So I had to buy that within 1 week. Um, but that was back when the pandemic was like a lot crazier, so things were super cheap. So I mean, I did buy it for like $1,000 round trip both times, 2 weeks in advance. I don't believe the prices are the same right now. I haven't bought a ticket in a while, so I can't tell you for sure. But you could buy it the day before. It just depends on how much money you got. But the farther in advance that you can buy it, the easier, honestly, and probably the cheaper it would be. But I'm not actually sure. It also depends on holidays. Usually Tuesdays in the afternoon are like the cheapest, I believe, that I've heard if you buy a ticket Tuesday afternoon. Someone mentioned plane tickets and it reminded me, do you recommend one-way, always round trip, no matter what, you guys, always buy your ticket round trip, even if you don't plan to use that flight home. It is always cheaper every time. It's very rare if you're going this far. It's very rare. Like I tried to look up what a one-way ticket home was. It was like, maybe I shouldn't say cheaper, like you're losing so much money if you buy a one-way ticket. Like I think a one-way ticket was like $975 and a round trip was 1,000. Like just buy it, you can cancel. But I genuinely think a one-way ticket, the last time I looked, it was like $1,200 for a one-way and it was 1,000 for a round trip. So it sometimes actually is cheaper. I always buy my flights round trip. You can always cancel the second leg, or you could potentially get it like the date changed and you would still end up paying less than you would have if you bought two one-way tickets. But if you're coming here to teach, you really don't know if you're going to stay, buying a one-way ticket is also okay. But sometimes you could still, again, buy that round trip ticket because it's cheaper and cancel the second leg because it's usually cheaper to buy a round trip ticket always. Multi-city gets a little complicated. I've just always seen round trip as being the best. Joining late, but Ashley and I am studying abroad in Korea as well next semester. Maybe we can hang out sometime on campus. So exciting. I can't wait to see you again. Or thank you again for coming, Brianna. And yeah, I'm always down to meet people. I'm thinking of maybe doing meetups rather than just like meeting individually because I've had so many people ask me lately in my DMs. I would love to meet people. It's just there's only one of me and I'm very introverted. I am extroverted. You would never know that I'm introverted, but my insides would die if I just met everybody on a one-on-one basis. I love, love, love meeting you guys. So I hope we can work stuff out. But I also have to figure out my future here in Korea as well, you guys. It's a mess. It's a mess. Girl, if you don't go to Linus Barbecue, if you're visiting Itaewon, or maybe don't and just wait till I'm able to go. I went to a barbecue, but I don't remember if I'm so sorry. I met a friend. They said, meet me here. I didn't look at what the name was. Did I go to Linus Barbecue and not tell you? Marlena, don't hate me. I don't know if I went there or if I went to another one. Hold on, I'm looking at the pictures. I'm looking at the pictures online. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. The picture right now, that is their homepage, is actually hilarious. It's this guy like this. I think I went to Linus Barbecue. Did I? Marlene, I'll get back to you. I don't remember. I went to a barbecue place and it was really good. I know you told me about that, but let's just pretend like I didn't go to a barbecue. And then when you come here, we can go together. Great. Wonderful. Moving on Sunday with an F4 visa. I am planning on staying at an Airbnb until I figure out where in Seoul and even possibly Busan I actually want to end up. So you're coming on the F4. So you're going to be on a long-term visa. As far as the ARC card goes, I think the most important thing is that you have a phone number. I don't know if you're getting like a SIM card or if you have any, if you've watched my like SIM card video, that's really important. As far as like location goes, I've gone to Airbnb should be fine. I've gone to like get a free COVID test given my Airbnb location. Just today when I went, I gave my Airbnb location. I don't think it really matters that your address is like connected to your name. It's just a phone number I know is really important, that the phone number is able to be like connected to your ARC card, because that is what eventually allows you to like log into these coupon apps and log in to like this QR code system. You need a phone number that is attached to like your name in the system. So you should be fine. Just bring whatever address of wherever you're staying right now. Should be fine. Hongdae is a great place for college age peeps to go. I feel like prices are decently priced and lots of good food, and I may be biased since I'm at so very true. I would say because it is a college town, the price is a little bit cheaper because they know college age students are there. Huge pro tip. That's really good. I forgot to say that, but yes. I don't love the college age because I'm above the college age myself, but that's why I stay outside of Hongdae rather than inside of it. But yeah, any college towns usually are cheaper, whereas like Gangnam is really expensive because it's very much not a college age town. So yeah, so that's another really positive to Hongdae is because it is wonderfully cheaper. I really miss Korean cafe culture. That is literally, I love cafe culture. I love it so much. It's my favorite. Well, I live at cafes. That's where I edit every single video, you guys. The amount of money I've spent on coffee. I don't even want to think about how much I've spent at cafes. Okay, back to reading. Once our friend and I were the only customers in a local cafe. After a few minutes, we realized the worker had left us alone, and we were like, what do we do? Yes. I love this. So yeah, they'll just like up and leave. And but I love that you said owner, worker. It's like usually like the owner is the worker, but you're like, are you the owner? Or maybe you're just the only worker. You just left us alone. Like they really will. There's so much trust here in Korea. I love it so much, but that's so true. Cafe culture is just next level. There are some cafes, guys, if you live near like Koreavilles, they're all throughout the world. If you live near a Koreaville, um, there can be some cafes as well that have a similar-ish culture as well. So always look up like Koreaville near you. Maybe take a drive to a nearby state that has a Koreatown. One way is a lot cheaper right now. Really blows my mind because the last time I looked, it was still more expensive. I guess you just gotta always play with the prices, and, whenever I buy my plane tickets, I use those graphs, and, there's, like, different graphs, and it will show how much this ticket used to be versus how much it is now. I always use Google Flights to look at flights to find the cheapest because 'cause it'll show what the flight used to be. It'll be like, is it in the green, yellow, or the red as far as, like, how expensive it is, and then you can zoom out to the calendar, and it'll be like, "I want to leave on this date," and then on this way, it'll be like when you plan to return, and you can kinda, like, click around and play around to find the cheapest flight. But maybe because COVID just got crazy, the one-way ticket would be super cheap because it's just so yeah, like, the times are really crazy. But in my head, if you book a round trip ticket, it's gonna be cheaper because when you go to buy your second one-way ticket home, it could be more expensive then. So, like, you might have to spend $1,000 later to buy a one-way ticket home, whereas if you buy a round trip ticket and you're spending, like, $1,200, it's gonna be saving you money in the end. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Usually, I always buy round trip, and I'll cancel the second flight or I'll change it. Um, she came back 5 oh, this is to finish your story. She came back 5 to 10 minutes later. It was really weird. We were worried, what if more customers came in and we don't speak they literally do it all the time. They just walk out. They're like, if someone comes in, they'll sit down, they'll look around confused for a second, but I'll get to them eventually. They're so relaxed. I love it. You only got it was $575. That's great. Sounds super cheap. Maybe I need to buy more tickets now. You can call me Mishi or Michelle and love your channel. Thanks again for all the advice. I can't wait to come back to Seoul in January. Mishi, that's so cute. I love that nickname. Michelle, Mishi, whatever you prefer, I will call you that. But I'm so glad that you found my channel. I'm so glad that you found it helpful. I will continue to give as much advice as I can and safe travels when you come back here in January. So that means that you have been here before. When did you come to Korea before, Michelle? Mishi, I love both. Um, do you know any chill things to do, places to go near Hanyang? Where is Hanyang University? I'm not familiar with the schools as much. Give me the maps. Give me the maps. Where are we at? So this is looking like it is towards. Oh, is this? Oh, okay, so this is farther. Get it right, Megan. Get it right. East? Farther east. Yes, this is farther east. I have not explored your area very much, but I will tell you guys right now my absolute most favorite place in all of South Korea, and I will post it in the chat. I hope that I can find it here on the map because I'm just zooming in randomly. There is a area where there is all like streets of cafes that are like hanbok style, and it is my absolute favorite place to go. But it's on my phone. Let's see. I will try my best to send a link to where it is on like Naver Maps on here. I have it saved on my phone. I go here all the time. I have a lot of reels that I've already like filmed here, but I just try to obviously upload reels like a little bit spread out at a time. Let's see. This is the ish. It's around here-ish location. Let's see. I am sending it to myself. And now I am sending it I use my phone as a light. I think if you guys were in the last live, you would know that hack now. It just adds a little bit, a little extra filter. And I will now send it in the chat because I sent it to the computer. This is, yeah, by far the most beautiful place in all of Korea. And this is closer towards that area. So it shouldn't be all that far away. Bam. That is not anything specific. It's just in that area. If you walk those streets, by far the most beautiful place in Korea for you to just explore, get lost. Marlena just said that the Humbug Cafe videos are amazing. I would live in one of the, amen. I have so many videos down those streets. You guys are going to lose your mind if you have not been there yet. Stunning. Go there for sure. So many cafes. A lot of people might not know about it. And then when they get there, they're like, how did I not know about this before? Let me go back to these questions. So getting back to your question, that university is a little bit farther away from places that I've been. It's more on the Myeongdong side, and Myeongdong is like now dead. It used to be very like foreigner heavy. But there are also some cafes near, I want to say there's also like these like rooftop bar. I plan to make a video with these places that I'm talking about to let you guys know of places that I really recommend that you go. I really want you to go to this place as well. It has like some rooftop bars, and I know that I don't have that address saved in my phone like I did this one, but I will add that. Look out for that video because that is a video that I plan to make, are places that I would really recommend you go. The person that specifically asked that question, because you're studying at that university, message me on Instagram and I'll find the link sooner so I can just give it to you right away. But it's the street that has all these like rooftop bars, and it just like in cafes, it overlooks the city. The view is incredible. And if you're interested in that, I will find that later and send it to you personally. Let's see. But there's always cafes everywhere. Literally just type in cafe, you're going to be mind blown. There's always somewhere to go and explore. Bought one-way ticket the first time, and I was the most nervous I've ever been in my life. I was lucky I didn't get turned away. That's so funny. That's true. It is very, very intimidating. And I think you might have messaged me on Instagram. Hello. I'm like way behind with my Instagram messages right now, guys. So I'm so sorry about that. But one-way ticket, buying a one-way ticket is like, this is happening. Like I'm actually going. Like we're doing the thing. I'm going to the place. It's very scary. So thankfully you didn't get turned away as well. Any suggestions for a 1 or 2 week Korean language course in Seoul? I have heard more about long-term rather than short-term courses. I would have to do more research on that because I personally recommend, if you are, I don't know what your goal is. Are you looking to be conversational in Korean, like a little bit conversational? Are you just looking to learn the basics, or are you just looking to take a class to take a class? I take from a tutor. If anybody needs a Korean tutor, my tutor is the best. I don't know of anybody that has had a better experience than I have tutoring. I love my tutor so much. If you're interested in her information, please message me personally and I'll give it to you, because I asked her, like, can I tell people about you because you're great? She said, yes, of course. Of course she said yes. So please message me on Instagram if you're looking for a tutor. I would recommend you put your money in that than in like a 1 to 2 week language course personally. Maybe if there's like a culture course that you could take, or like you could go to museum and like take a tour if you're looking for information. But if you're looking to take the language, taking from a tutor is going to be the best because they can evaluate your skill set and help you individually. I don't think you would be able to learn too much for like a week or two in a class like that. So feel free, message. I know we've talked on Instagram, I believe, Karen. So just message me on there and we can talk about it more, or you can type more questions here. FYI, you should totally be a cultural liaison, culture guide, and consultant. Keep it up and people will love you so much because you're approachable and real. Thank you so much. It'll be good. Just believe in yourself. We do. You're so cute. Elena, thank you so much. I mean, I'll do anything. I love helping people, and I appreciate that you said I'm approachable and real. That means a lot to me. I just love to help you guys. I love YouTube. I would love YouTube to be, like a more of like a full-time job in the future. Can't be right now, but as of right now, we're doing just great. Like my channel has grown and I'm thankful for how much it's grown. I'm not gonna compare my journey to other people because then I will feel really sad because 'cause I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are at that many subscribers." But either way, the people that I have met on here, the people I talk to on Instagram, you guys are so real with me as well. So I really, really appreciate that. And it means so much to me that any of you guys would like think I'm approachable, real, want to meet up in person and all of that stuff. So thank you guys so much. May I ask, how did you get Korean SIM card? I have a whole video on SIM cards that I highly, highly, highly recommend you watch. Can I send it to you on here? Could we do that? Could we get a little crazy? We can. Get shareable link. There it is. I would really recommend you watch this for SIM card. SIM card video. Bam. We love to see it. As far as how I got my SIM card, I just waited till I came to Korea, but I actually wouldn't recommend you do that anymore. If you're coming on a short-term visa, you might as well just get the Tracy SIM card. I talk about that in that video. But if you are coming here on a long-term visa, I would definitely recommend you hit up the place that I mentioned there if you're looking for a cheap option. If not, almost it is like a Chinese company, but it's super cheap. I've heard it's really reliable, so I would really recommend that you go there. If you're looking to get a cheap SIM card here and you're gonna stay here, you have an ARC and you're gonna stay here for a long-term visa. If I visit Korea for a month, can I stay quarantined at an Airbnb or do I have to stay longer? If you are staying on a short-term visa, so that would mean 90 days or less, you must stay in a government facility quarantine. That is the rules and regulations as of right now. Airbnb is only for someone coming here on a long-term visa. So short-term visas, you have to stay in government facility quarantine. I've lived in Daegu. There's a lot of cafes there, especially Susong Lake. The lake is surrounded by lights and around Walking Road, a lot of beautiful bars and cafes. Wow, that sounds really, really. I've not been to Daegu yet. I want to go to Daegu one day, but that sounds stunning. I'm gonna save that lake. Save that lake in my phone. Go her. Go here. This lake is beautiful. Got it. Colleen, thank you. Happy to help. Yes, email me. Email me. My email is somewhere on my YouTube page if you would like to use that. My homegirl lives in Daegu. She's been trying to get me to come to Korea for years. Every pic she's ever sent me has been so beautiful. Marlena, gotta come here to Korea. I'm waiting. Thank you for the SIM card advice. Happy to help. Yeah, that video is just going to be a bit easier for you to watch than for me to explain in this moment. Hey, Yosh. Hi, happy drawings. SIM card, got Tracy as recommended. Definitely order at least 10 days in advance. Learn the hard way. They don't send it in. Oh, no, I'm so sorry you didn't get it in on time. Every country is supposedly different. But yeah, I would definitely recommend you buy it as soon as possible because you can buy it now and verify it, or like not verify it. You can like buy it way far in advance, but you can let them know, oh, my trip isn't going to be until this day. So it's not like you buy it and then the day you get it, it's like activated. It will activate when you tell them to activate it. So yeah, get the SIM card in advance. Good advice, Elena. Thank you for that. I heard if I'm on a long-term visa, I can quarantine with a friend. If that's true, do they also have to quarantine or is this information incorrect? If you were to quarantine with anybody else, it would have to be like you are isolated in a room. Like you can't, like a lot of apartments, like I would say are on the smaller side, you would have to stay in that room and not leave that room. As far as a friend goes, I don't see why you wouldn't be able, because people can stay with like their family. You just have to tell them like where you're going to be quarantining. But again, yeah, you would have to be confined to a space that is completely yours. So bathroom completely yours, like room completely yours. There's not going to be any sharing of anything. You're not leaving the room at all ever. If you have a setup like that that you can find, kudos to you. If that person would be willing to like house you in the corner and not, come in and cheat the system at all. But again, as of right now, remember, as of right now, until the December 16th is when they will reevaluate this regulation. But as of right now, still, everybody has to quarantine. There's no exemptions. I just want to throw that in there right now. Everybody must quarantine, no exemptions at all. And people coming from the specific countries there's a video, a short video that I say everyone like must quarantine, no quarantine exemptions. Please watch that. There's a list of countries on the screen that have to stay in government facility quarantine. They can't even stay in Airbnbs or anything like that. Have you ever visited the Downtowner? It's a burger place. Downtowner. I have not heard of the Downtowner. Where is Downtowner? Paste. Downtowner. I have not been here. Burger place. It's got great reviews. Holy crap. So I usually live, I would say, so the locations of this restaurant are everywhere I don't live or haven't lived. I've lived a lot of like the west side. I'm from the west side. I lived like from Hongdae, you take the Green Line, Line 2, and it wraps all the way around to Gangnam. I always live in that area. I don't know really why. Probably because I like to be away from foreigners, and Gangnam is like a little bit too expensive. And then like the Myeongdong, like in Seoul / north of Seoul, is either kind of a little bit dead now or more businessy, and I would rather stay kind of near. I don't know. I just always so I've never been to this place because all of the locations are like everywhere I never go, which is so funny. But it's added to my list because holy crap, those are great reviews. I bet the burgers are fabulous. Guess my question is irrelevant. Did I miss your question? If I missed your question, I did not mean to. Let's see. Can I go back and find your name? Oh, here we go. How hard is it currently traveling from Seoul, West Africa to South Korea? It is not impossible. You can do anywhere, traveling from anywhere. I'm sorry I missed your question, by the way. I just posted the link and I missed it. It's not hard to travel from anywhere, but I believe that area is currently on the list of you must stay in government facility quarantine. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not completely sure, but I believe that a lot of countries in that continent are mandatory government facility quarantine. So it is not impossible. It's just that you will have to stay in government facility quarantine, which is pretty expensive, but I don't have the list of the countries for sure. So if you don't mind going to the quarantine exemption video, it's like 1.5 minutes long quarantine exemption video that I just posted an update. I want to say it was on December 2nd. Watch that. If your country that you are currently living is on that list, you have to stay in government facility quarantine. So again, it's not impossible. It's just that you're going to have to maybe pay a little bit more money to quarantine. Just ordered a couple of days before my flight. Oh, your SIM card video. Thank you again for the information. How do I need to book a PCR test to leave Korea? Can I book with a private provider? If you're meaning like you would not need a private provider. You can buy them from you can like book an appointment through the airport, but from what I've seen and from what my friends have experienced, the airport has some hidden fees because it depends on like what time you get the test taken, what kind of test you get taken. There are places you could really go to, like any hospital or clinic, and you can book in advance. You can just send them a little, you can call them. Sometimes they have like a Kakao like group chat that you can text. I listed a place in the video that is about how to get a free PCR test home. I've still heard some people can use that system to get the free PCR test home, but at the bottom, I have like a backup plan. That backup plan is where I've been sending people to. But what country, what country are you going to? Because if you're going to America, I don't know if you're going to America, but if you are going to America, you can get an antigen test, which is much cheaper than a PCR test. So I would definitely recommend, if you can save money, save money. If your country that you are going to requires a PCR test, though, like I think Canada does, some other countries also require it, then obviously you would have to get a PCR test. But you can book on your own. You could call yourself. That backup plan, my friend, I think, was able to talk to them in English, but maybe that was on the chat. Either way, any hospital or clinic, you can get tested there. Just make sure if you are getting the antigen test, it's around 60 to 80,000 won. If you're getting a PCR test, I want to say it's like around 120,000 won. You should not be paying anything that's like 170, 200,000 won, 300,000 won. I've seen some crazy, ridiculous prices. Make sure you keep looking around because there's usually a cheaper option than the first option you find. I only have 1 dose of vaccine, so I cannot use my public facility until second shot. Yes, you have to be fully vaccinated. So the second vaccine, once you get the second shot, you're considered fully vaccinated 2 weeks after that second shot. But you could come here and get the second shot if you would like. But I think you would have to be on a long-term visa. So if you want to just wait, get the second shot, and then 2 weeks after that, you'll be considered fully vaccinated in Korea. I almost forgot they also have cat cafes. Oh my gosh, I love cat cafes. I went to this, it's not a cat cafe, but I went to a cafe that's cat themed. My heart, I almost cried. But yeah, they have so many petable animals. Literally, they just walk around. Yep. Come up to you, let you pet them. There's even dog cafes are probably like the sweetest because owners will take their dogs to the dog cafes and they kind of use it as like a babysitting. Like they'll be able to like allow their dog to not just be stuck at home all day. And so then all like the little dogs kind of like get to know each other because they're like, oh, hey, we're at daycare again. And there's just all these little dogs walking around and they'll actually wear diapers. I'm not kidding. Some of these dogs wear diapers because they're not very well potty trained. So they put a diaper on them and it just cracks me up. But they like run around and they're so happy to see people and they're so happy they can interact with people. I don't know what the current like regulations are with like COVID and stuff like that, but I haven't been to a raccoon cafe. I wanted to go to a raccoon cafe. Marlena, I know. Eee, cats, I died. Woo, live chat. Hello. I won't reveal your identity. Hello. Glad you can finally make it. If you're gonna be quarantined in an Airbnb, do you take the bus or a taxi in the airport? There is a separate like lane of taxis when you arrive in like the end of customs. There'll be like you have to take these like safe COVID taxis where the taxi on the inside is like barricaded off. There's signs in English and all of that pointing to like where those taxis are. So you'll just take one of those taxis to get to your Airbnb. Stick me in the corner like a plant. LOL, my Korean friend has a bigger apartment, but I figured quarantine with him probably wasn't possible. Yeah, you should look into it more. I don't know how they would tell the difference between someone just staying in an Airbnb and like you staying with a friend. You know what I mean? Like how would they know the difference between the two? Like they will call that person and say this person is coming to quarantine. Is that correct? I don't see why not. Like I've known people that they know people and they had like an extra room and they stayed there before. So it's worth looking into. I'm sorry, I don't have like a definite answer to that, but worth looking into. Definitely try Loteria Bulgogi burger. So I think Loteria is pretty good. Some of my friends give me sass and say that it's not good at all and it's disgusting, and I think they're wrong. But I really like Loteria's, I think it's like a mozzarella burger. It has a complete mozzarella cheese fried patty on top of it. Chef's kiss. We loved it. Spy cams, is that really a concern? Should I be concerned as a female? It is something to be aware of. Concerned? It's a good question to bring up. And sorry, my water bottle is upgrading to the end of this really big water bottle. I don't think you should live in fear. So like I wouldn't like be worried. I would just be cautious and conscious of the fact that it's a thing. Like when I go out, I only use bathrooms like in cafes where there's like a lock on the door, or restaurants. I try to never ever use the subway bathrooms. I try to never use these like public open bathrooms. Malls are usually fine. Again, not great though. I don't even want to say malls are usually fine. If it's like a very public area, the subway is the worst. There will be, and you'll see it when you go to Korea, look for it. You'll see these like toilet paper balls that are like shoved into the sides of there's like, there'll be like holes and people will shove toilet paper to like block the camera or block where there once was a camera. Um, Whenever I go to the bathroom in public, I try to just, be careful to like not ever take my mask off, keep my mask on. So you can't really see me. If I have a hood, I'll put my hood up so it's harder to see my face. And then try to just like cover myself when I like try to go to the bathroom a bit more and not just like let my body hang out. Again, don't live in fear, but just try to not go to the bathroom in these public places like the subway and or the bathrooms that are like awkwardly just in public, like off of the beach. Not that you can't, just again, be like cautious and just try to keep yourself covered. Don't be scared, but it is sadly something that is a problem here in Korea. And if you stay in even hotels or Airbnbs, they recommend that you check for bugs and like bug as in like cameras. Um, but it's also really hard to find if there's a bug. I've heard that if you use the front face of your camera phone, if you go like this and turn your camera on, you turn all the lights off, turn your front facing camera on. And they say if you like go like you guys are saying yourself, but if you like explore like that, if there's like a little red dot that appears on your phone, then that could be a camera. I also got scared because I thought there was a camera, but it was just, how like the TV will have like a little dot light. I like freaked out. I thought it was a camera and it was just the TV. So that's one way to check for bugs. I would recommend you look up like how to check for hidden cameras in my room. If you ever are nervous about it, you can always do that if you're staying in like a hotel. That's another way to check to feel a little bit more like at peace. I've done that in my quarantine spaces just because like in my head I was thinking, I'm going to live here for 2 weeks. This is my home. I want to feel free in this space. So I always checked my quarantine spaces. So I hope that helped answer that question. Are we not able to get SIM cards at the airport anymore? So you can get SIM cards at the airport. It is just limited options. So if you're coming on a short-term visa, not long-term visa, short-term visa, there is a CU when you get out of customs and it's like to the right, around the corner to the right. You can go there and actually buy snacks. If you guys have not seen my customs videos, really recommend. I explain in there how you can get SIM cards in the airport. That is one place, is in that CU. They have SIM cards. If you're staying on a long-term visa, there are a few kiosks that are outside of like the penned area. But the penned area, if you're staying on a short-term visa, you can't leave the penned area other than to go to that convenience store. So you can't walk over, from my understanding, you cannot walk over to those SIM card option areas because they're like way farther down. But yeah, there is that one option. I don't recommend buying the airport SIM cards. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. You don't really need, if you have some friend or some contact information, there's no reason that you would need a phone number at all. They will ask you, is there a contact phone number for you at all? When you get to your quarantine facility, in government facility quarantine, I just so happened to know one person. I gave them my phone number. They never contacted them. So you could give them like the contact number of a school. You could give them your Airbnb person's phone number. They will probably send them a message and then you'll need to like write down the verification code. But again, at this point, if you're staying in an Airbnb, you should have already watched the customs video and seen you need their contact information so that when you arrive, they will call the Airbnb to confirm. So you should have already been in contact with them knowing like, hey, I need your phone number. They're going to call and confirm. So that would just be like one more thing that you could ask them, that this is like a part of the system. And when I say Airbnb, I'm talking about like where you would stay after government facility quarantine. It is so complicated. Please go and watch my customs videos. It'll be so much easier to explain it there. That will tell you how to get a SIM card in Airbnb if you want, or in the airport if you want. That'll tell you what information you need in advance. Those will be super helpful for you to watch. I booked at Incheon Airport and they're ready same day as your flight, but you have to book in advance, and it was a little pricey. What were you talking about? Yes, airport tests. Going to the UK, I'll book at the airport. Yes, very pricey. I would definitely recommend go to my free PCR test to get home. That is a potential option that you could use to like not have to pay anything. I've heard some people that still works for them. Going to like your local COOV and getting the test taken there. If that doesn't work, in the description, again, there is a place in Gangnam that I listed as a backup place that the price was relatively reasonable from what I had seen. So I would really recommend you check them out. I hope that helps you. Antigen test is accepted to the US. Korea doesn't accept it. Antigen test is accepted to get to America. So in order to get on the flight to get to America, the antigen test is accepted. You do not need to get a PCR test. Korea, coming to Korea, they accept a PCR test, so that is different. But leaving Korea, the antigen test is accepted. Are you in Seoul now? Yes, I am. I'm in Seoul right now. I keep forgetting to ask, is every quarantine facility changing the same rates? How much did you pay? Every quarantine is around the same rates. Quarantine is officially 10 days, if you guys did not know that. And it will cost around $1,000 to 1,100 USD. So it'll cost around $1,000 USD. It is about $100 a day. So now that quarantine is 10 days, bada bing, bada boom, about $1,000. Also, if you do go to a hospital, make sure they provide travel certificate. Correct. Yes. That's why I recommend that place in the description, is because I know that they do the documents that you need for travel. Yes, some people will say they can't. So it's very important. Yeah, that is important as well to say, can I have a test for travel? I booked the airport too, and I rationalized it as peace of mind. Yeah, that is very true. You just go to the airport, you're already going to the airport, super easy. Already checking the box of getting there. Some people just struggle because their flight maybe is at like 10 in the morning or 8 in the morning, and it doesn't open until 7 a.m. So you can't really like pull up at 7 a.m. and get that. It says that the test results will take like an hour. So that's cutting it too close. So you would have to go like the day before to get to the airport and then come all the way back. And that just seems like a hassle. So why not go somewhere that's a little bit closer, like the place I mentioned in Gangnam. But thank you guys so much in the chat for helping other people too. I love it. Best toilet in Korea is at a highway rest area. Those are very, very nice. The highway rest areas here are so nice. When I take the bus to Busan, always go to the bathroom there. Oh, thank you for sharing your updates that you paid about $1,000. Wonderful. I got police escort to those areas while waiting for the quarantine bus. All you have to do is just say, and they walked me and waited with me. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Oh, yes, the quarantine bus is another option. Okay, cool. Do you mind sharing a little bit more about your quarantine bus experience? Because I don't. Um, sh- I'm curious to know, where did you take it? Where did you go exactly? Um, Which neighborhood do you stay in now? Is it recommendable? I'm not going to say where I currently live, um, but I really recommend that you stay around the Hongdae area, um, Hapjeong, all of that. There's a lot of English speaking. There's a lot of really great cafes. Uh, Even if you're not young, I think it's like a really fun place to explore. Uh, I also lived near Yeongdeungpo. I used to live in Yeongdeungpo, not right now, but I used to live in Yeongdeungpo, and I really liked that. I lived near Times Square Mall. I lived near this Alice coffee place that gives you a free dessert, and I went there all the time. And I go to Yeongdeungpo a lot actually to this day. I have a friend there, and I just really enjoy Yeongdeungpo. So that's another area that I've always really liked living, and it's near the Han River. So I really like to go over to the Han River and walk across that side of the Han River. That's another really good place to go is like the Han River. If you were to take a street from Yeongdeungpo and connect it directly to the Han River, and it's like if you were to look at a map, it's like a little circle, kind of looks like a pimple on the side of like the bottom south side of land. That area is a really good area to explore the Han River. Do you drink makgeolli? Yeah, I like flavored makgeolli more than regular makgeolli. And that is for sure. But makgeolli and kimchi pajeon, we love it. What happens if you take the PCR test close to the 72-hour limit and then your flight gets delayed for some reason? Would we have to get another test? So from my understanding, if it from the most recent article, at least I saw with the US. Now this depends on where you're traveling to. If you are traveling to the US, by the way, you must get a test taken now within 24 hours, not within 72. I do want to make an updated video on that, but I did mention in the description of that current video I have up for PCR that it has to be within 24 hours now. But it did say, at least on the American website, in regards to this 24-hour rule, Yosh, that if it were extended past like a day, like if it were to be delayed or something like past a day, you would have to get a new test. But I think that like short delays, that it is not your fault, right? Because you didn't delay the flight, you didn't cause like all the stuff. But it's like if it's due to, I want to say if it's like weather or something, you have like a day worth of extensions until you have to get like a new one. But I highly doubt that, things would get, postponed past a day. But if a flight were to get like canceled, then I think you have to get a new one as well. How did you pay for quarantine? Cash, card, before quarantine, after quarantine? You pay upon arrival, and they can do card, and it can be a foreigner card, it can be a Korean card, it can be any card. They can take a card. You could pay in cash, but it has to be in Korean won. So when you arrive at the airport, you can always go to the currency exchange that I put in the customs video, and you could exchange money there. Or you could do a wire transfer from a Korean bank account, but you would need to have a bank account that is Korean in order to do that. So I just paid with my card, and you pay everything literally on day one. You give them all the information and all of that on day one. So after the police walked me to get my SIM card, they loaded us all into the same bus. The bus kindly waited for me because the cops told them to. Fright arrival evening, so it was just the bus that took us to the Marina Bay Hotel, which I was so thankful to be at, by the way. Such a nice place, and the food was tasty. Yes, okay, so you were able to go up there as long as you got escorted. Love to hear that. Thank you for that update. That's super, super good to know that you can go up to the little kiosks. Am I right in saying that? You can go up to the kiosks. That's really good information to know. I just know that there's like that little SIM card place right there. How much, do you mind me asking, how much did you pay for your SIM card per month? Am I allowed to ask? Do you mind if I ask that? Credit card or debit card is accepted. Correct. What is your Christmas plan? I was at Marina Bay Hotel too. Was told it was the best one. I went to the Marina Bay the first time, and then I was at the Hyatt the second time. They are two different experiences. I will answer the Christmas plans in 1 second. And happy to help you guys. I really liked the Marina Bay food because of all the fresh fruit was wonderful. I think that the Hyatt The staff was way nicer and friendlier. They spoke really good English, and I believe that they spoke really good English because it was near the hotel, or the hotel's near the airport. So there's a lot of people usually in that area that speak English. Um, or maybe they just got lucky and they got good staff, you know? The staff at the Hyatt were amazing, and when I called, they were able to, like, help with so many things. Like, if I wanted to, at the Hyatt, if I wanted more fruit, I called and said, "Do you mind if I have more fruit?" Every day after I called, they were giving me more fruit. So, the Hyatt is very accommodating. They didn't have a window that could open, as you guys probably saw in my video when I had to quarantine. Um, yeah, very intimidating that there was no window, didn't like that at all. Um, but I would say that the staff at the Hyatt made the Hyatt amazing, the experience amazing. The food at the Marina Bay was definitely more preferred to me because of the fresh fruit. I did not get vegetarian at the Hyatt like I had asked for, but I didn't care because I'm not a vegetarian. And I really, really liked the food at the Hyatt as well, but I can't compare, like, from a vegetarian to vegetarian standpoint, because I definitely was getting a lot of chicken. I was like, I don't think I'm getting the vegetarian meals. Yes, it was at the kiosk at the exits for the airport. I only had one option because the other kiosk was closed. I can't remember. Okay. But it was about 55. So how long did you buy that phone plan for? Did you pay 55 for a month? Did you pay 55 for the card? Oh, a little high, but it was my only option. Oh, I just needed to keep up with my worrisome mom and friends, so I didn't mind much. You could extend 1 month, but I just ended up getting a different SIM. So that was only for 1 month. Okay. So, yeah, that is definitely expensive-ish. It's not horrible, but I would say that most SIM cards are gonna be 28, 38, 20, 30 to 40,000 won, for a month. And so, yeah, it's the airport, they can push up those prices if they would like. What I did, so you guys know, is I did not buy a SIM card until I got out of quarantine. But as you hopefully saw in my SIM card video, I didn't personally think like I needed one because I am good with directions and I could load the map in on my phone if I had Wi-Fi, but you can't, like, reconnect. Like, you can't re-log in to the app outside. Like, you have to keep that map open. Like, you can maybe close out of the app, but don't exit. Like, don't close the app, as far as, like, on the iPhone when you can swipe up and it completely closes it. Keep the app open with the map because it can't reload. Um, but I'm really good at directions. I knew how to get places, so I didn't think I needed a SIM card, and I just used Wi-Fi to talk to, like, my friends and family, because there's Wi-Fi in the airport. So I would, like, call someone with the FaceTime, or message them on iMessage, or use, like, WhatsApp to talk to people. So that's personally just the way that I didn't feel like I needed to buy a SIM card in advance, and then once I was out of quarantine, I just went and bought one from the place that I mentioned in the video. But it looks like you said that you went to Anam Station outside, 30,000 won a month. Wonderful. Um, I am a little uh leery-some about places that take cash only, but it sounds like you're doing just fine. I try to go to places that take a card. They usually are a little bit more official. Um, But that's just my hesitancy, and that's what someone told me, is it's just probably better to go to a place that takes a card, but it sounds like you're doing just fine. So, but make sure that you have at least decent amount of directions if you're not gonna get a SIM card in advance, or not getting it like a Wi-Fi box in advance. If you've never been to Korea before, this is why I think for everybody, just getting the Tracy SIM card in advance is your best bet. It's cheapest, and it just allows you to have the SIM card right when you get off the plane. So, yeah, that would be my recommendation. And I am almost hitting the 2-hour mark. I usually leave around the 2-hour mark. My throat is reminding me that it's about the 2-hour mark because I'm like, "Ooh, I've been talking for a minute." But I'll try to answer these last few questions. How intimidating was it when you arrived at the airport? Do you have any tips after you arrive? I love your advice. You're so sweet. Definitely watch my videos because I try to, like, with my best ability of my ability, like, record everything, like where I was walking, where I was going. Um, At the end of the day, there are other people kind of walking around, so just follow them. See where people are going. Follow the arrows to the much of your ability, but sometimes there aren't arrows, as you might have watched in my quarantine videos. They like don't point you in any direction. You're kind of just like, just start walking. You know, people will point you in the right direction eventually. The only place I never knew where to go was after you made it through quarantine or through customs. You kind of like went up to the glass dory people and then you walk out. They don't really tell you where to go. It's when you don't have your luggage yet. You go to the right. There'll be like a screen that shows the arrival flights. You go to the right, you go down the escalator. There'll be like a green leafy wall in front of you, and then you'll veer off to the right, and the luggage will be down there. That was the only time I ever got a little like confused or scared. So, other than that, arriving at the airport is very much like sheep. Just follow other people, and if you get lost, just like look in your phone and wait for someone else to walk somewhere, and then kind of try to follow them from afar, because it's really like a herd mentality. We're all trying to leave. So today the weather is so cloudy. Yes, but I love that it is not absolutely freezing. Came to Seoul in the spring of 2017 first, then back January 2018, and I find Seoul very similar to Tokyo, but with mountains, which is fantastic since I am definitely a mountain person. Amen. Being able to look around and see mountains everywhere is just, I love it so, so, so much. My throat is definitely telling me I think I need to stop. I don't think I see any maybe dire questions at all, but I really, really hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope that you can go out there and get yourself what is it? Verified, vaccinated if you're here. If you are on a tourist visa, wait until Wednesday. And you can go back up to like look at the place where I put the place of the health district center that I recommended that you go to. But I'm very, 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 very thankful to help you guys. I'm always here. I do hope that you guys follow me on Instagram. I also have like my Ko-fi as well. If you guys want to join in like supporting with, if you found if you find any of this information helpful at all, I do have a new like channel account where I have like, if you would like to buy me a coffee, because I always edit in my coffee shops. That's just what this is if you ever want to look at it. But obviously, no pressure. This is just your girl's on a budget. And if you find my information helpful, that's just like the way people have been thanking me. So thank you guys so much for coming. It was wonderful to talk with you. And I will see you in the next one. Annyeong. Bye, guys.